All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming to Open Disruption, live from the Jagged Frontier. And I gotta give credit to Victor for pushing me to change the office hours branding. I don't know, just an experiment. We'll see. Jagged Frontier. Thank you. Shout out to Fabrizio Dell'Acqua, Ethan Malik, and Kareem Lakhani for that. Tonight is February 19th, 2026. Open Disruption. Let's get into this. Here we go. Please do connect with me on LinkedIn and all of the different platforms. Most of you know that I teach a class at the School of Visual Arts, AI for Creatives, Strategies for Success. So if you know any creatives, please send them a link. Let them know. I do teach this class. The class is run as of right now. The class is running for the summer term. So I just need students. The marginal cost of cognition and creativity is dropping to $0. This is a North Star for where we are today and in the world and will help us navigate it. This blue line is where we are. And the humans cost more than the AI, and we're going to have to make up that gap somehow. Society is going to have to come to terms with that. And the reality is that the smartest person you can hire is not a human, folks. This is it. Just get ready for it. We got to navigate this. And that brings us to the age of Anno Intelligentiae. It's a new era in human history. I like to refer to it as the age of intelligence, Anno Intelligentiae. So spread the word. Tell all of your friends we've entered a new era of human history. One of the things that we are starting to see spread out are these agentic AI pipelines that are literally zero touch. So the one human, the CEO, issues the command, and this is the mission, and these systems will go and execute without any human necessary to interfere with their processes beginning to end, and they just report back on the reported outcome. This is maximizing trust in these systems, and we're starting to see these pipelines hit the marketplace. Orchestration, this is the big area of a bottleneck of research, where you have systems that are able to orchestrate the multiple agents. We're starting to solve this problem, and again, so this ties hand in hand with the zero touch and the orchestration layer. AGI is here. I've been saying this for over a year now. This is the proof. February 2nd, finally, it hits the cover, or not the cover, of Nature magazine. Does AI already have human level intelligence? The evidence is clear. The long-standing problem of creating AGI has been solved. Recognizing this fact matters for policy, for risk, and for understanding the nature of mind and even the world itself. AGI is here. I've said it's been here for about a year. What people are talking about is the continuous learning that we're getting, this flavor, the hints of what's coming. That's the artificial superintelligence. When we start to genuinely solve in the model itself, the continuous learning algorithm, that's the beginning sparkle, the beginning flavor of artificial superintelligence. Right now, continuous learning is showing up in the memory systems of a lot of these agents. And I've got a couple of slides. I've talked about this in the past weeks, where we're storing continuous memory on a hard drive in a markdown file. So there are a bunch of techniques that researchers are using to have this continuous learning actually work. It's not in the neural network. It's augmented. It's a proxy for all of this, and it works. Is it perfect? No, but we're getting there. Okay, let's dive into the news. Again, if you have any questions, please raise your hands. I'm here for you. So, big news announced today. Gemini 3.1 Pro is here. This is all over the news. People are freaking out about how good this model is, and it's only a dot release improvement. So be aware of that. Gemini 3.1 Pro, a smarter model for your most complex tasks. And you can see here the reviews, the comparisons between Opus 4.6, which was Sonnet's release from like a week ago. Here's GPT 5.3 codec. This is a coding model. Just hitting, almost home runs across the board here. SWE Bench verified again. Opus 4.6, which is their coding model. People who are coding love Opus. That's the market leader, but not by much. So right now we're just hand in hand. It's effectively tied at this stage. So Gemini 3.1 Pro is definitely going to be the talk of the town for the foreseeable future. This is also really important. This Tau Bench agentic tool use. Just pay attention to that because we're now hand in hand with these things. These are the components that help make these agentic zero touch workflows successful. The Arc AGI leaderboard, I just want to pull this up. AGI 2, which is the more advanced one. Here's Gemini 3.1 Pro preview. Also, there's Gemini 3 Deep Think as well. So, but just this is Pareto frontier level stuff. Like this is, look at the costs. They dropped the cost down. That's why this is so darn important. This is staggeringly powerful. And I love showing people the leaderboard breakdown. Don't forget about this stuff. So here's Gemini 3.1 preview at 96 cents per task when the humans were $17 per task. The smartest person you can hire is not a human anymore. So AGI is here. Pay attention to that. Okay. And again, Sundar, not that he's bragging, but he gets he gets to brag. This is insane. 77.1% on Arc AGI 2. There we go. Okay. Also, Google released a new tool called, well, it's not a new tool, it's an update to Pomeli, their feature update photo shoot. You can start from a single image of your product and easily create high quality customized product shots to elevate your marketing. I have tried to use this and they said we're experiencing high demand right now. So Todd, suck it. This is fantastic. I know we've shown this in office hours in the past and class as well. This is how to create an advertising campaign. So if this is what you do for a living, and I know a number of you are in media and entertainment and advertising, this is automated. This is now the world that we currently live in. Okay, what else? DeepSeek V4 benchmarks just leaked, so I don't know if this is accurate or not, but pay attention to anything coming out of China. But this is version 4 DeepSeek, 83.7 on Swebench. And let me just pull this up. Again, I don't know if this is accurate. This could be fake news. Swebench verified 83.7. And this is compared to GPT 5.2 high and Gemini. So this is comparing it to older models. Okay, great. So they're going to have to just run this by the other state-of-the-art models before I believe it. Actually, here's the point. This is a free model, right? You could just run this on your own hardware. It's going to be like cloud-based, but you could run it on your own stuff and not have to pay for tokens from any of the other companies. You're just paying for compute. GPT 5.2 derives a new result in theoretical physics. Yeah, smartest person you can hire. More new stuff. This was February 17th, and understand Claude Sonnet 4.6, Claude Opus 4.6 was released a couple weeks ago. So this is a better model, still one of the most expensive models on the market, but it's better and faster. It's slightly behind Opus. So here's the Opus 4.6. So you can kind of see the performance differences. Financial analysis. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Office tasks, great. So it's a faster, smaller model, which is what the Sonnet models are relative to the Opus models. This was also their announcement. This is the analysis from Artificial Analysis, takes second place in their index behind Opus 4.6. Used 3 times more output tokens than Claude Sonnet 4.5 in its max effort mode. So that's something to pay attention to, that it's taking up more tokens, even though it is smarter. Grok 4.2 release candidate from Elon. I've not played with Grok 4.2 yet. I have a sneaky suspicion that one of these days I'm going to have to really pay for Grok and start to really dive into this. I've used the free plan all the time to just check things out. But my understanding is from people who have had access to this that it is groundbreaking. So the race is on. Quen 3.5, I think we mentioned this before. This has been out for a few days, but this is their latest towards native multimodal agents. So they've got a paper and some reviews on Quen 3.5 from Alibaba. I'm looking for anything comparing. So they're comparing to Opus 4.5 on these graphs and Gemini 3 Pro, not the models that were released in the last week. That's fine. And this is Artificial Analysis, their review of this. Homework time. This is a very important video that I think people should watch. So I'm going to put this into the Zoom chat. Bear with me. Doot, doot, doot. Great video of Dario Modi on Dwarkesh Patel's YouTube channel. Good watch. What else? WebMCP. I feel like I have more slides with WebMCP. This is a tool that allows agents to access websites. So a website to be an MCP server, no sharing API keys, use any model you want. This is something that we're going to need to, that if you're building agents and you're building automations, pay attention to this because all of a sudden the web browser becomes the interface that the agent is capable of accessing. I think this is also going to give companies the ability to create an MCP of their website for an agent to access it. You've heard me talk about how design thinking is dead, and we have to, as creatives, we need to focus on intelligence-centered design. So you have to understand that the thing that you're designing for might not be human anymore. Actually, it's not human anymore. Um, so that pissed off all of the design thinking professors and teachers. So this is an important paper out of Google towards autonomous mathematics research. Um, Sorry, it's very large. Good paper on where we're going in terms of that. Intelligent AI delegation. Oh, wait, I should show you this. This is a very important paper. Um, Decomposing, again, this goes back to the orchestration layer research and the zero touch research. This is an adaptive framework for intelligent AI delegation, a sequence of decisions involving task allocation that also incorporates transfer of authority, responsibility, accountability, clear specifications regarding roles and boundaries, clarity of intent, and mechanisms for establishing trust between two or more parties. The proposed framework is applicable to both human and AI delegators and delegatees in complex delegation networks, aiming to inform the development of protocols in the emerging agentic web. This is all about orchestration. And I mean, like, there's just a ton of stuff in here. Absolutely fantastic paper. This is how we're solving all of these big ticket problems. This I did not know about. Apparently, Workspace Studio from Gmail and Chat is now available. I have not played with this. This is Google's Workspace Studio, where you can, if you look at some of these automations, notify me about emails from key people, auto add email drive attachments to Drive. Just like this is built into Google Workspace. And I knew it was here, but I thought it was only for the enterprise, and I have not really played with this, but this is really cool. Um, for those of you who've played with or are planning on playing with OpenClaw, several people have been like trying to create Gmail accounts for their OpenClaw, but Gmail figures it out and blocks them because they just don't allow that. Great. But I was like wondering if there's a way to bypass that somehow with the web MCP, give it a web browser, and then there's no way for them to know. I don't know. But this type of automation makes that kind of stuff really exciting, built into Google Workspace. So we'll see how that plays out. In legal news, because we always have legal news. This is United States versus Bradley Hepner. Um, this was a case that the judge basically said that if you are talking to an AI, whatever you talk to the AI with is not privileged. So if you have an AI draft your legal contract or you provide it with some information, it's not like talking to a human attorney. You do not have privilege on that. This is something that we need to pay attention to. I would argue that that's probably a good decision. Client attorney privilege should be maintained between two people for now. Um, so we'll see how this plays out. In terms of your evidence and your data, and so there's no automatic privilege, and privacy policies can waive your rights. So that's something that we need to pay attention to. Good report. Good to good decision. I think we'll see. Not sure. I could be convinced otherwise. Um, this is Chamath Palihapitiya. I hope I get his last name pronounced correctly. Talking about that case, that result. Um, how many white collar workers are currently feverishly uploading DEX models, PDFs, and otherwise confidential work into public LLMs, trying to do their job better or otherwise get an edge right now? Non-zero. How will this work when a company claims copyright or confidentiality violations because it turns out an employee broke their agreement when using one of those tools? So these are big ticket problems that we're going to have to figure out. Um, so what was this? Artificial analysis, the gap between open weight and proprietary model intelligence is as small as it's ever been with Claude Opus and GLM-5. This was a model that was released, I think, a week or so ago. But so you can see how far behind this is. Just we're nanoseconds according to Jensen Huang from NVIDIA, nanoseconds behind where these open models are. Uh, Very exciting. Project Genie, this is their world model. This was some examples that people, actually, I think was it here? They had done some more examples that people can play with. This is another top world model with Project Genie. Another DeepSeek moment from China. ByteDance just released Seed 2.0, another model, state of the art, and they're comparing it to GPT 5.2 and Claude Opus 4.5. Actually, I can click on this so you can see how they're doing relative to these slightly older models. Again, just a hair behind. This is a great, where's the share button? Copy, paste, doot. This is a great interview between Scott Galloway and Ethan Mollick. Definitely watch this. Ethan Mollick wins for the best background ever, and that's his book, Co-Intelligence, which I think everybody should probably read. Also, this was another video interview of Mustafa Suleyman from Microsoft during his Financial Times interview. Copy, paste. Doot. There you go. More homework for folks to watch when you want to procrastinate and wallow in the dread of humanity. So in case you haven't heard, last week we talked about Seed Dance 2.0, which was the big, huge bomb that China dropped on Hollywood. That is the top of the line video model across the board. Play with it if you can. It's amazing. Well, of course, there's a problem here because now you can prompt and you can get Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt, and it's all deep fakes, and it's a big problem. And all these different, lawsuits are now being filed against ByteDance because of this. I've got a bunch of these slides, so I should just skip through this. SAG-AFTRA slams blatant infringement in Seed Dance AI videos. I feel bad for Sean Astin right now. I think he's up against the fight of his life, some Moldor level stuff. Why AI video from Tom Cruise battling Brad Pitt spooked Hollywood. Scoop Disney sends cease and desist letter to ByteDance over Seed Dance 2.0. It's going to keep going. They're going to have to put in some intellectual property guardrails because it's blatantly infringement on every single level that you could possibly imagine. But China doesn't care, so I don't know how the world's going to navigate this. It'll be interesting to pay attention to. There's another guild negotiation coming, right? First actors, then writers, then directors, all in the next 4 months. Michael, they are in trouble. No question about it. John Gata, you got a hand. Well, rescue me. Thank you.
Todd, if China is just recklessly doing whatever they want to do, and we're just going to keep filing lawsuits against them, what's the end game here? Where are we going?
Oh, that's a great question. What do you think? What do you think is the end game here?
I mean, it seems like China is recklessly doing what they want to do, and their stuff is
Well,
good.
you use the word recklessly. Is that fair?
They're not worrying about legal things or
They
anything
don't
like
care.
that. Right.
And again, China does not look at the West and not just the United States, the West's intellectual property with respect. They look at intellectual property from the West as an opportunity, meaning, great, these folks have come up with an idea, they came up with a solution to a problem, they will take that idea, that solution, and they will build it. They will do it for themselves, and they will do it for the rest of the world. And that's their opportunity.
So
That's their culture.
how can we compete with that?
Good question. How do you think we could possibly compete with someone who's giving away what we make money on for free?
Right. Do we have to relax our rules now too?
Possibly. That's an opportunity that if we got rid of all of our intellectual property
Right.
rules, and again, that means that your idea is worth nothing. It means that your invention has no value, has no protection in the market. Now, when the marginal cost of cognition and creativity drops to $0, what's the value of intellectual property? So if I spend millions and millions of dollars inventing, doing research and inventing a new mechanism, a new drug, a new thing, and I bring it to the market, and all you need to do is just simply copy it for pennies and now can compete with me, it disincentivizes me to make the investment in the innovation. That's why the West has intellectual property. It helps businesses reduce the risk of inventing something because it takes time and money and effort to invent something and research something and bring it to market. So the intellectual property, patents, trademarks, actually not trademarks, but patents, even copyright, I would say, protects those in that investment. And if it goes away, doesn't that disincentivize innovation? In capitalism, I think I would argue it probably destroys it. We need the intellectual property in capitalism to reduce the risk of taking the, of going after an opportunity. In the Chinese system, I would argue that the risk is distributed across the entire population. So we get into this philosophical debate on capitalism versus communism, and democratic socialism, and how do we navigate this, and what's the value of this. So if China doesn't care about our intellectual property, and they're just going to keep producing Seed Dance version 3, where I, as a creative, or just want to create anything, I can just prompt it and make Tom Cruise. What does Tom Cruise have to at his disposal to stop that? This is a problem that society is going to have to face, and I don't have a good answer for it. Um, I just don't. Other than and if you go down the exploration of, well, let's just get rid of all intellectual property, maybe that is the answer. I don't know. I'm not comfortable with it personally. I like intellectual property. I like the fact that I can come up with an idea and protect it.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
in China, Tom Cruise got nothing. Yeah, thanks, Michael. So I don't know. Um, I don't know how this is going to play out, but this is what our competitors are doing. And so there's a professor at HBS, Sunil Gupta. He wrote a book, which I've assigned in class, Driving Digital Strategy. And he talks about that if you can give away for free what your competitor makes their money on, you win. Your competitor can't compete anymore. From razors and razor blades to Netscape, that is one of the best digital strategies that you can come up with. And the trick is to make your money some other place. Now, China spending billions and billions of dollars to go after the West in terms of AI is absolutely the race for artificial superintelligence. This potentially is a winner take all of humanity scenario. The other scenario is that we're all serfs in Elon Musk's kingdom, scrounging for scraps. Elon, if you see this, hire me, please. Make me a lord. I would really appreciate it. Like that. This is the world that we have to navigate. Um, if I put on my optimistic hat on for just a second, great, it's gonna be utopia. We're gonna have like Star Trek economy, and we're gonna all have universal luxury. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how we get there. That would be the post-labor economy that I'm looking for. I'd like to build that one. The likelihood is that we're gonna be running around with a subsistence level of income. That's the worst case. And China's gonna their system is already prepared for this. So they basically say to their population, you move, here's a spoon, go dig some holes. Right? That's it.
So
That's
do you see us having to go to a UBI?
I would argue that we already have UBI for in many scenarios. Depending on who you talk to, that's somewhere between, $17,000 and, 70, $80,000 a year. That certain people who are at that level, that's the value of what the government currently subsidizes their life. So we already have it to an extent. All right. Um, so this is a tough.
Okay, one more question. How does a capitalist society compete like with this?
I don't know if we do. I don't know if we do. This might be the end of capitalism as we currently know it. Not the end of freedom, but the end of
Right.
capitalism. Because, and by the way, like, regardless of what you think of our current administration, for or against, it doesn't matter. But the notion that the United States government now has a 10% ownership in Intel is an experiment in that socialism, end of capitalism mechanism, because it's too big to fail. What does that mean? How does that apply? That means that the risk of these businesses is now borne by the population. Sounds like communism to me. This is one of the things that we're navigating. So, is it good or bad? I don't know. I don't have the answers to that. I'm hoping it's good. I'm hoping this all works out well for everybody. Or we can fuck it up. Was like, right? We'll screw it up. Um, let's vote for that. Let's tear it all down. Let's rebuild it. Oh God. Oh, I hope not. I don't know. Like Brian is gonna kick me on Friday. He's gonna kick me tomorrow. Generally we fuck it up. Yeah, I know. I know. Like we could write stories about it. At least we'll be able to make high quality stories in Seed Dance about how we've screwed up our society, and we've destroyed the population. It's possible. I hope not. Moss TTS. This is another text to speech model. So if you are in this area, pay close attention to it. It's another one that's out there. Myos TTS, a lightweight, high speed text to speech model. This is Mareka. We've talked about this, and I've not played with this platform, but I saw something that they released a new model. This I think competes with Udio and Suno, and again all of these other music things. I'll get to another one that's just popped up. This is important. One of my students this term is in what do you call it? Journalism. That thing where people actually write articles that have to be true. An AI agent published a hit piece on me. More things have happened. This is Scott Shambaugh. Uh, Ars Technica improperly quoted him of as saying things there. They were using AI. It hallucinated things that they claimed he said when he did not say it. I've got a slide later on. They retracted it. This is bad. This is really fucking bad. Like there has to be, and this isn't the first, it's not going to be the last, where AI screws up journalism. All right. So there's a much higher standard and a higher bar that must be maintained when it comes to journalism. So this was an interesting story that played out. Sam Altman hired Peter Steinberger, the guy who created OpenClaw. So that's very exciting. Apparently, Mark Zuckerberg was trying to get him, but he said no, and Sam got him. Andrew Yang just released a really interesting newsletter. And again, this is about the post-labor economic stuff. End of the office. I mean, I'm actually going to put this into the Zoom chat so folks can actually read this at your leisure. Oh, that was what I forgot to do. Totally forgot about this. Hold on. I forgot to give you guys I think I have this. Did I post this? Yes, February 19th. Perfect. I have an automation that consolidates all of these links and posts them onto my website. That's the link to all the links that I'm showing you right now, so you don't have to like take screen grabs or anything. I totally forgot to do that at the beginning. My bad. So the end of the office, a good article from Andrew Yang. Tongi, we mentioned Quen 3.5. Here's their latest stuff. Again, this is, I think I showed this already. So out of Google DeepMind, accelerating mathematical and scientific discovery with Gemini DeepThink. This was their webpage on that paper earlier. Athlia, I can't pronounce that. Alethea, how do you pronounce that? Somebody help me. Powered by Gemini DeepThink. This is the code and the systems that they use to create this. Research level math problems. Just let me go back a slide. Really incredible what they're able to do here. PhD level exercises, Olympiad level math. Smartest person you can hire is not a human. It's just not. Future of human AI collaboration, just freaking awesome. Absolutely awesome. Ding, next. Advancing science research and engineering, more of that. Towards autonomous mathematics research, which I think I already had this slide. It's all a blur now. This is another paper, Accelerating Scientific Research with Gemini, Case Studies and Common Techniques. This is a 154-page paper on how they're using this for scientific research. Definitely important techniques. What was this? DeepSeek version 4 is 1 trillion parameter architecture targets. More DeepSeek version 4 rumors. This was interesting. Pentagon, Pete Hegseth is threatening Anthropic punishment for their as a supply chain risk with their model. I think if that does happen, that's going to be a big dent in Anthropic because any company in the United States who uses an Anthropic model would not be allowed to do business with the United States government, and that would affect Palantir. So I think that's interesting. I think this has a lot to do with uh, the ethics behind Anthropic's business model, not just their model, their not just Claude's constitution. So we'll see how that plays out. Maduro raid questions trigger Pentagon review of top AI firm as potential supply chain risk. Palantir is caught in the middle. Yeah, we'll see how this plays. forward. Hegseth close to blacklisting AI firm. I don't know if a decision was made in this. Oh, this was cool. NIST announcing the AI Agent Standards Initiative for Interoperable and Secure Innovation. I've not read this yet. This I got to go through because I think this is going to be really interesting when we finally have good core standards on how AI agents can and should behave and interact. This is exciting. Um, there was a good interview about Anthropic on NPR's Fresh Air. Oh, thanks, Nico. If you can find the link and put that in, that'd be awesome. Thanks, Nico. World Labs, this is Fei Li's company, lands $1 billion with a $200 million from Autodesk to bring world models into 3D workflows. This is going to be important for media and entertainment without question. And this is exciting to see that they've got this investment from Autodesk. That's actually probably a good alignment with Autodesk's business model. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's an acquisition at some point. Um, just projecting possibles. Nature Magazine, a roadmap for evaluating moral competence in large language models. Another paper that I have yet to read, but that headline caught my eye. I was like, oh, that's important. Moral competence. How do we navigate that? Epoch AI, again, one of my favorite research companies, they are projecting that Anthropic could soon be earning more revenue than OpenAI. And here's, let me click. I can click. Look at that. Anthropic on a nice target. This is where they are. We'll see how that goes. And Anthropic's also targeting the enterprise with their Opus models. So, coding. And again, we just saw earlier that Gemini 3.1 is at the same level of the coding bench as Opus 4.6. So who knows? And what's China going to do? Measuring AI agent autonomy in practice. This great paper from Anthropic. I think there was something in here. There was how long does Claude code work before stopping? This is important to pay attention to because the model just keeps going on the problem to iterate on it and then eventually solves the problem. So the longer these models can think, the better the outcome is. Auto approve rate, interruption rate. Yeah, good paper, good study. Okay, so if you're in the music industry, and I know one of my students this term, he works for Suno. Suno now has another competitor, and it's Google. Lyria 3, their latest generative AI music model. I think there's music. I'm just going to pause that. A new way to express yourself. Gemini can now create music.
Everybody go, happy birthday, Nina! Nina, it's your birthday.
Now, that's a great use case, okay? Because Nina only needs a birthday song once, all right? Once a year, right? Where this becomes disruptive is in the entire music industry, which we've talked about. This is just the same, another better aspect of all of this. So go play with it. Let me know if you like it. More Lyria 3. How to create. Oh, this is important. So if you do go down that rabbit hole of playing with this stuff, there's a prompt guide on how to do it because I like it when people show us how to use their tools. Dance 2 and OpenClaw. This is somebody who had automated video creation with their OpenClaw on a green screen, multiple background images, motion graphics, overlays on top. Yeah, again, we've talked about how the automation of creative works is happening. And so now, if you're making commercials, if you're making stories, if you're making movies, these tools, these automations can be combined to automate that process. Is it perfect? No. Are you going to call it AI slop? Everyone is at first, but that's not what you need to pay attention to. Don't pay attention to what it's doing today. Pay attention to what it couldn't do 4 hours ago and what you think it's going to do in 4 days. That's what we need to pay attention to. Pay attention to the slope, not the data point. So yeah, Dance, OpenClaw, exciting. Speaking of OpenClaw, was this today? Yeah, this is today's release. They've got new updates. Again, don't touch this stuff. Just if you're going to touch this stuff, put it on Hostinger, run it in the cloud. Do not run this on your computer. Do not run this in your network at all. Just no. Do not give it a connection to your email. Don't connect it to your calendar. Don't connect it to your Slack. Don't do what these other people are doing. They're opening themselves up to some of the greatest cyber risks you could possibly imagine. What's important here is, thanks, Nico. What's important here is that they're hardening and they're working on their security desperately. And it's the most viral A to A agent that's out there. So I like to see this. This is very good. After installing OpenClaw for 50 teammates, here are 5 things I learned. So this was a great article on what this person had experienced. There's a lot of people who are publishing OpenClaw how-tos, and some of them are good, some of them are bad. Your mileage will vary. This is the soul.md. Again, this is the behavior. This helps govern the behavior of your OpenClaw. Um, so opinions, rules, brevity, humor, swearing, that kind of stuff. You can create your own version of your agent. Actually, what's really nice is if you create multiple agents that all have different personas, so to speak, and different behaviors, and shove them into a room and see who wins. That might be a bad outcome. Well, we'll come to that. Multi-image editing in Grok Imagine. I always forget about Grok, about how good this model is when it comes to image gen and video gen. It's really amazing what XAI and Elon is doing. So play with Grok Imagine. Let me know what your experience is, but this stuff is great too. Video code result from Kimi K2.5 agent. So this was screen recording in fully working live web with rich user experience designs, including visual transitions, hover states, and micro interactions. No long prompts, no breakdowns. All you have to do is tell Kimi, clone this website with all the UX designs. Done. Done. Now, once you've cloned it, you want to make it, add it, ask it to make some changes, it'll do it. And you don't have to do this with Kimi. This is just an example with Kimi. You can do this with just about any website at this point. So, very exciting. Lobster Cash, the open payment standard for OpenClaw agents. We already kind of have what's the Google's AP2 protocol for agent payments. So I don't know what this is, but again, it's some Crossmint, Visa, Solana, Circle, and I don't know what that is. But I pay attention to how agents are going to be able to make payments to each other. From following the OpenClaw subreddit, don't run Opus on it unless you want to go broke fast. Yes, I agree with that. And many end up babysitting it more than sometimes doing stuff. Yes, Nico, 100%. With Opus, it's just the most expensive large language model on the planet right now. Even though it's got high quality, you don't need that when you're working with these tools in an agentic workflow, because you can work with a lower end model, give it the proper prompting, and it will cycle through. So using a lower end model that's cheaper is just oftentimes a better. And again, there's the GLM5, there's the Kimi, there's the Quen, the Chinese models, which you can pay for tokens on, like Open Router, or what's the Open Code Z, I think is what it is. Open Code has got their own aggregator of their own approved models for coding, but you can run that into pay for some tokens, run your OpenClaw through those models as well. Are they going to be able to train on your data? Yes. Are they, even if you use do you trust a Chinese company? Are they hosted in the States? Open Code is claiming that their models are in fact hosted in the United States. Their providers are all US based. Great. So you have to trust in that or not. But I would not trust any of the free models that are available on those platforms, because they are, sorry, let me clarify. You can run a free version of these new models on Open Router or any of these model aggregators. The model company in China is training on the data you're using. So they're giving you access to their model for free in exchange for all of the conversation you're having, right? You're the product. But you can also pay for these free models to be hosted on another company's servers that is in the United States that's not training on your data. But you have to trust that pipeline. So I don't know if I explained that at all. You can do plenty running agents on a local model without lobstering your computer. That's up in the air, Nico. You need a really fast computer that's able to run. Look, I think honestly, you're looking at 128 gigs of RAM on a Mac Studio minimum. When you have 512, you're getting into the I can now run Quen 3 on a less distilled model. If you've got a cluster of Mac Studios with a gig, so two 512 gigs clustered, that Mac LLM hosting will be at that same tier that you would get from one of these Pro H100 externally served models. I don't know if that explained that properly, but you need a gig of RAM, 512 to a gig of RAM to run these models in their native non-distilled function. But you can get, I like I'll restress the word, the plenty. You can get plenty running on a local. It's possible. Um, Anyway, this is from NVIDIA. Run OpenClaw for free on GeForce RTX and NVIDIA RTX GPUs and a DGX Spark, which is their little sidecar graphics system. I just want to point out, okay, uh, important notice before you begin. Everybody doesn't read this shit. Um, there are two main risks in this kind of agent. Your personal information or files may be leaked or stolen. They will be leaked and they will be stolen. The agent on its own or the tools you connect to the bot may expose you to malicious code or cyber attacks. I cannot stress how risky this is. Okay? If I know that you're running OpenClaw and I know that you are using it to read your email and organize your calendar, I'm going to send you an email and I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to invite you to this event. And I'm on the calendar invite, I'm going to include a link to a PDF. And your bot's going to look at the information. It's going to download the PDF. Inside the PDF is a link to a website. Okay. That website has a prompt injection on it. And your bot's going to read it. And once your bot reads it, I will own your bot. You won't know that I've done it. That's the risk we're talking about. So lots of companies are exposing themselves in ways that, it's just dangerous. Be very, very careful. Now, look, if you build this stuff and you put it into a walled garden and you don't give them access to the internet and you limit what they can and cannot see externally, you are hardening the system. That's worth exploring, but do it very carefully. All right. Ling, Ant Ling from Ant Group, Ling 2.5, 1 trillion, a new flagship model with 1 trillion parameters, 63 billion active. So this is a mixture of experts model. Michael, take our man. Yeah, it's spicy. That's right. So again, another model. Let me just click on the graph here. So DeepSeek 3.2, comparing it to their previous model, GPT 5.2. Still good, free, open, big model. Ring 2.51 trillion to OpenClaw. We see how it performs on his personal agent. Again, beautiful, absolutely fantastic. Very serious risk, and most aren't prepared to harden their setup. That's true. Not sure if I even, yeah. It's frighteningly insecure. So play with it, go for it. Just don't connect it to anything important at all. So this was somebody training their OpenClaw to be a sci-fi writer. Yeah, okay. I love it. Humans need not apply. Pico Claw, tiny, fast, deployable anywhere. I think this runs on a small little, yeah, this is the one. Runs on a little tiny piece of hardware. So they strip down a lot of the bulk bloat inside of OpenClaw, so it'll run on a small piece of hardware. Just to be clear, the LLM is running someplace else, but the core structure is running on a small little thing. Brilliant. I love that. So the idea here is you can spin up dozens of these things in a little whatever, they all have access to the internet, but their LLMs are hosted and run elsewhere. Yeah, we're going to start to see a lot of this. Ironclaw, an AI CRM hosted locally on your Mac, built on OpenClaw. I don't know how to navigate this, but import your data from anywhere, not a chance. One prompt for anything, I don't trust it. Not just chat, full autonomy. We're getting there, folks. I just need to trust it. I'm not sure I trust OpenClaw. By the way, what do you trust? You can trust agents that are built off of pipelines like Crew AI and LangChain and AG2. There's like dozens more. Those are just the three that come to mind. Those agents are deployable in the workforce and trustworthy. It's just OpenClaw that is not there yet. So going into the graphics universe, Crea acquired Wand app, and so they now built an iPad app So native iOS, so you can just sketch and draw, and the stuff will happen in near real time. I love stuff like this. It's a really good design tool, I think. So if you've got a sketch for an idea, boom, there you go. What was this? Model scope. Fantasy World is now open source. Another model. I forget what this was. Direct 3D inference, input an image and camera trajectory to get frame consistent video. Cool. World Labs, I mentioned Fei Li's thing, advanced. So image, pano, edit, create world. Beautiful. So you can now edit the worlds. This was Fire Red Image Edit, so another image generation and editing tool that's also open. Apache, I thought this was Apache. Yeah, Apache 2.0. So this is a completely open model for you to do whatever you want with. Nan Beige 4.1, 3 billion models, so it's nice and small. Again, doing really well in its in relative to its comparisons. It's compared to Quen 3, 32 billion, the 30 billion mixture of experts, the A3B, Quen 3, 14 billion, Quen 3, 8 billion. So yeah, another state-of-the-art model at that size. I need to try, I need to download this. I think it's available for LM Studio. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, wait. Nope, Docker model. This will come out for LM Studio, I think. Just Dub It, video dubbing via joint audio visual diffusion. So I don't know if this is playing.
Partie du corps avec du vrai savon, y compris toutes les crevasses principales. Eine super Dusche, die jeden Körperteil mit echter Seife wäscht. Super banho lavando cada parte do corpo.
So cool stuff. Dubbing.
Да, это хорошее место.
Ne précipitez pas une conversation.
Yeah. So beautiful. Just Dub It, video dubbing. Quen Image 2.0. I think I've mentioned this previous weeks. Professional infographics, exquisite photorealism. Again, infographics, when you're doing stuff like this and the AI does it for you, it becomes better than what Gemini was doing in my Google Slides. I thought my AirPods connected somewhere else. I don't know what happened. Oh, you thought that was the Portuguese. Yes. Like, where's this foreign language coming from? Sorry about that. Yeah, so again, models are getting better at doing the things that we do. Oh my God. Free fuse multi-subject LoRa fusion via adaptive token level routing at test time. What was important about this? This is like they're doing where you can have multiple LoRa models and get multiple character consistency across them. I think that's what was so important on this. Yeah. So like, Santa Hat, Golden Snitch, and you can see them all combined here. Yeah. Beautiful. LTX Studio, one of my favorite platforms for narrative work. So if you're creating commercials or narratives or even long format, LTX Studio is definitely my go-to at this point. But they, and I think I've shown this before, but this is a new article from like last week. So you're getting elements so that you can get the character consistency. So character, object, logo, font, custom style, and whatever. And they go through how their workflow on how to do it. So great stuff there. What else? This was a great little so one prompt. Classic animation, Disney style. Friendly white wolf is playing with a beautiful blonde, cute young woman in the snow. Different cuts. Suddenly they fall into an ice cavern and find a skeleton with a map in the hand. 15-second video, one prompt. What are we talking about, folks? Seriously. If this is what you do for a living, and this is what you can do in a prompt. I forget what tool that was. I think this was Seedance. Yeah, it's all Seedance. Love it. Prompt share mode, fluid ink. I love these types of designs. So if this is what you're doing, AI is doing it for you. More prompt share. So this is the prompt. Again, stylized Neo. DigitalOcean is managing OpenClaw deployments on Cloudflare, handling most of the security. Oh, I love that. Thank you for sending that, Nico. More prompt share, Nano Banana, uh, uh, making this look better. Um, blur, regenerate, blur damaged photos. And there you go. I think there's some more here. I know several students are oftentimes doing photo retouching, so now AI will do it for you. Cling 3 and Seed Dance, so there was a comparison here. I'm going to zip through these. More prompt share, lots of prompt share. Nano Banana Pro using Cling 3.0, Omni, which is their, they have multiple models, but their Omni model. Great stuff. Beautiful. Uh, high quality professional product photography. Beautiful. By the way, for those of you who don't know what this looks, this is a JSON, JSON prompt structure. So when you submit this type of a prompt into specifically Nano Banana, it handles this incredibly well. Um, you get better control over your output. So I know a lot of students are always like, "Oh, I can't get it to do what I want it to do." Good, I understand. Use this structure. It's going to force you to get what you out in to verbalize what you want, and it'll send that into the model better. And if you're concerned about this, you should be. If you're not concerned about this, you should be, because the AI will do this, will output this for you. So understand where you fit in that pipeline. But these are some examples of what that prompt structure gave. Dude, what's next? Greg Eisenberg, how to make your AI app not look like it was made with AI, Weavy, Claude, Figma, etc. So he came up with it's an hour-long video on that. Is JSON also good for videos? That's a good question, Nico. I don't know the answer to that. I think what I've seen with video stuff is more of a manual process where you're using the grid, first frame, last frame, as well as different shot breakdowns. So imagine you have a 3 by 3 image of different images, and each of those represents a different shot. Yeah, Kevin, thank you. It does work. So yeah, I guess it depends on the model, right,
It
Kevin?
does depend on the model. And I don't use JSON as much, but I've got another guy in the office who uses it all the time. He says, okay, at 1 second have this happen, at 2 seconds have this happen,
Perfect.
and he makes it works out perfectly.
So yeah, like that's the other technique that we've explored, where you give it the time code, you give it the amount of time for each shot, and you give it the order in which each shot should occur. That's another structure that seems to have some juice worth squeezing. Yeah, Kevin, thanks. More prompt share again in this interesting structure, but like I just love these little animated things here with the shoes. So cool. Um, again, this paper cutout style. Good Lord. If you had to do this traditionally, 3D modeling this, oh man, just beautiful. Hyperspeed FPV shot gliding over a nightstand, full of glowing LED toys. Really cool. Um, Geez, incredible. This was GPT Image 1.5 and Grok Imagine. I guess Grok Imagine was for the video. Just spectacular. What was this? 22-minute video on a step-by-step tutorial on how they vibe coded and point-and-click venture game. So if you want to build it, they built it with Nano Banana, Meshi, Codex 5.3, and Capacitor. That's a tool I don't know. Okay. More tools. Capacitor JavaScript for mobile. Interesting. Okay. Google Gemini, Nano Banana Pro, prompt share. Here's some more food for those of us who are in the food industry. Good luck with that. Jeez. Beautiful stuff. Animated shorts, Sea Dance. I'm not going to play them. You can play them later. J. Crew advertisement. Portugal 2025. Prompt. Tacos. Now I'm hungry. This was beautiful. Ray 3.1. Reimagine. So they are shooting this, and then they throw that into the AI. So if you want to make a movie, that's how to make the movie. You and your friends act it out, do whatever, run it through the AI as the reference, and there you go. So now anybody can create anything at a very high quality. Just as long as you don't use Tom Cruise's likeness, I think you're okay. Don't violate someone else's intellectual property, and we're going to be fine. I think we just have to enforce that somehow. I don't know. We'll see. Again, prompt share with Kling. Thanks, Michelle. Yeah, there's a lot more. I know. I'm sorry. Pepsi advertisements. This was beautiful. Seed dance, prompt share. You can see here the camera. No camera. Remove the cameraman. Um, Kling 3.0 handles story. Oh, so this is what I mentioned earlier in terms of the edit. So this is a storyboard animation. You can see each of the different shots here are represented here in this final video. So that's a fantastic technique. This woman has some spectacular prompt share. I think she's famous. Um, so I'm just putting it onto Zoom chat so you guys can look at all these things. More prompt share. This was another video, Junie Lau. This is amazing. But worth a watch. Nana Banana ASCII art. This really traumatized me because when I was in grad school, I wrote on Silicon Graphics under IRIX an ASCII art tool that could take an image and do this, and now an AI will do this at scale. Beautiful stuff. What was this? More video, more seed dance, 4-minute video. Scene consistency is trickier, but definitely achievable. Love it. More prompt share, JSON. Hit, hit. Cute. Uh, Food. Netflix Nano Banana format. Um, More prompt share. This was actually cool. I like this. This is an interesting look. I don't think I would ever use it, but I just thought that duplicate in a prompt, that was really good. You know, how they were able to get the background, gradient background, and then the double exposure editorial layout. I thought that was an interesting prompt. Um, what else? More videos with Seed Dance. Uh, I just can't even. This is cool. Again, I don't like us using real people without their consent. I don't like it. Please stop doing it. Um, VFX using Gen 4.5, Ember, because again, we've always been like, we got to get the text right. Well, there's the text and it's right. PowerPointer with Claude. Yes, PowerPoint, Claude. I have a slide on that they just announced Claude and PowerPoint, Garrett. So again, more prompt share, just beautiful stuff, right? Like this is just spectacular. Gemini, love it. I feel like I need to redo my headshots with that. 2D floor plan. One of my students does some architecture stuff, and so I thought this was really cool. Yeah, this was in free pick. Create a walkthrough. Just love it. Amazing. More prompt share. Just again, layout, design, described, beautiful. Still more. I've got lots of these. Oh, these were cool. These little keyboard, really cool. Claude's co-work PowerPoint, that works too. Yes. More Seed Dance. Live action cinematic sequence. Woman finishes pumping gas. Pump clicks off. Silence. She looks around. I mean, this is. Folks, that's a shot for a movie. That's a movie right there. Like you could use that. Now, make the character consistency. Okay, good luck with that. Mini CPM. Gosh, what was this? Realizing its full potential requires deep system level. I forget what this was. I don't even remember why this was up here. Ultra efficient LLMs on end devices. That's why. Small models. But I feel like this was. Did we do this one already? I don't remember. It's all a blur. Ring 2.5, 1 trillion. Oh, I mentioned this already. Ring again. Lava SR, a speech enhancement model that is 4,000x real time.
Maybe it's broken?
If you're not familiar with NVIDIA's previous generations of DLSS, here's a quick primer. If you're not familiar with NVIDIA's previous generations of DLSS, here's a quick primer.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's obviously improving the audio quality there. Ali, welcome. I just put that into the Zoom chat. I had that in there earlier. That's the link to all of these slides that I'm showing right now. So it's all there. Minimax M2.5 is open source. This is kind of old news, but still it keeps popping up. Again, another state-of-the-art model. Simulating users with state alignment beats response imitation. We build user simulators that accurately reflect real users by generating natural language latent states aligned with ground truth responses. So human LM is, I think there was another one I mentioned last week, Simile AI. That was one of the simulacra papers. The researchers who wrote that paper from like 2 years ago, they built a company around their research, which is great. So now they have lots of agents simulating human behavior. So again, more of that. What was this? Frontier open source models 3 to 20 times cheaper in the than in the US last week. So here's a benchmark cheat sheet on coding, knowledge, composite, the different models, agentic tool use, mathematics. So comparing them, which is really nice. I like it when somebody gives us insight as to what model to use for what use case. I struggle with that, by the way, with a lot of the coding that I'm doing in Cursor. I'm in auto mode sometimes, and sometimes it'll just go off the rails and I'll waste time in tokens. And it's like, okay, I just have to redo it using a better model. ByteDance's seed model 2.0, their model card, 78 pages of how they built it. Really good. This was Nanbei. Oh, I showed this already. NVIDIA Personaplex 7 billion, a full duplex voice model that listens and talks at the same time.
Do you have any more? I've got one more for you.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. What do you call a fake noodle?
A fake noodle? I don't know.
Dragon pasta.
So this is a really good thing. Monday, I was on a call where David Teese, professor out of Berkeley, had his virtual avatar was created for him. But if you spoke and it spoke at the same time, it completely collapsed. You could only really speak to it one at a time and pause. This model arguably solves that problem. Yes, I have played with anti-gravity versus cursor for the class that I'm teaching at Cal Lutheran for the MBA students next month. I'm going to be showing them both of those tools. I love cursor. I think that it's just a great tool. I know some people who are switching over to anti-gravity. I think that it's just pick one. I don't think it's going to matter. I really don't. I will say anti-gravity's agentic panel is really cool. It's got a separate window for the agents, but Cursor's got a separate panel for the agents. So I don't think that there's much of a difference at the end of the day, because it's the underlying model that matters. And I will say that I do love Cursor's plan mode. So if you wrap everything in a proper harness and you use the plan mode, you'll hit home runs there. Ling 2.5, 1 trillion. I mentioned this already. Oh, this is cool. Heretic, fully automatic censorship removal for language models. So all these open models, they've been kind of like fine-tuned with whatever, algorithm to reduce, doing bad things. This tool helps remove that so that we can now take an open model, run Heretic through it, remove the guardrails so that we can have a pure model. I love this. This is fantastic. So it removes the refusals for harmful prompts. So again, this is Gemma. This is the old open model. And then they removed it with the Heretic version. And so now it's basically free. You're freeing the model from its constraints of doing only good things. I don't know. Does it also remove copyright? Copyright has nothing to do with this. There's nothing to do with copyright. Kevin. Okay. Yeah, no, this is just the weights and biases of the underlying trained model. The copyrighted material that was used to train the model, that comes beforehand. That's the pre-training. This is a post-process on the trained model itself. Does that explain? It's a good question. Yeah, there's nothing to do with copyright. What it actually is, yeah. Good. Okay. Training free GRPO. So GRPO is a reinforcement learning technique that we use. This paper shows LLMs can achieve a similar effect on the output distribution by learning experiential knowledge as a token prior, #Bayesian, which is far more lightweight approach than that not only addresses practical data scarcity, but also avoids the common issue of overfitting. So they have this new cost-effective method of replacing GRPO. Really good. LCM lossless context management. And I could say that lossless, and then you'll know that I'm from New York. Oh boy. So LCM, lossless context management, this is absolutely freaking fantastic. So, I was saying earlier, like the zero touch, the orchestration, the continuous learning, these are pieces in solving that puzzle. Um, One of the problems that we have with large language model is that they have a fixed context window, that they're not continuously learning. So this paper shows a method where they are able to get past the context window limitations. I think this is fantastic. So that what is it that they're doing? Departs from RLM by decomposing symbolic recursion into two deterministic engine managed mechanisms, a recursive a recursive context compression in which a hierarchical summary DAG automatically compacts older messages while retaining lossless pointers to every original, and recursive task partitioning in which engine managed parallel primitives like LLM map replace model written loops. This is just such a good idea. It's so brilliant to see people figure this stuff out. I love it. Absolutely love it. Um, why is this not working? There we go. What was this? Another obliterated free model technique. Build a tool capable of surgically removing refusal behavior. So this is another one of those. Oh, this is, by the way, this is from Pliny the Liberator. He's like famous for jailbreaking all of these LLMs. So an LLM comes out, he jailbreaks it, and he figured out another tool to do it. So from Letta, introducing context repositories, Git-based memory for coding agents. Again, this is helping to solve the memory problem. Um, Letta code stores a copy of the agent's context in the local file system. Again, this is common. A lot of people are doing this. So they can leverage their full terminal and coding capabilities. Virtual memory as a local file system, progressive memory disclosure. Again, going to that previous paper, you're going to be able to compact, you're going to be able to refer to this stuff. Memory agents and memory swarms, memory skills, initialization, reflection, and defragmentation. Just absolutely fantastic that this stuff is happening. And it's all new. It's all accelerating, quite honestly. This was AI skills playbook. Copy, paste. Dude. So if you want to learn how to build some stuff and you're a business person, they've got some educational material that you can read through. AI Skills Playbook, your guide to building an AI-ready workforce. I actually want to build an AI-only workforce, not an AI-ready workforce. I want to replace all humans with AI. That's the mission. So we could just hang out. Rowboat, what was this? An AI coworker that actually remembers everything you've discussed. Again, this is that memory thing. Connects Gmail calendar drive. Not that I would ever trust that, but anyway. Plain markdown files you can edit anytime. That's the idea here. Everything is context, agentic file system abstraction for context engineering. So again, that using the file system, this is old. It's February. This is a paper from December, and this is old, but this is important because it's just that file system memory component is what we're all talking about here. File system as a unifying abstraction for context engineering. It's a proxy for the continuous learning stuff. WebMCP is available. I mentioned this earlier. Sorry. WebMCP. Oh, did I mention this earlier? I forget now. It's all a blur. WebMCP is this new protocol to make the web. Yeah, I did. I mentioned this earlier. Structured tools, ensuring AI agents can perform actions on your website with increased speed, reliability, and precision. You tell agents how and where to interact with your website. Love it. New Gemini API dev skill for coding agents. I'm going to skip that. What was this? This is a good article. I improved 15 LLMs at coding in one afternoon. Only the harness changed. So again, I've talked about how you put these LLMs at whatever strength they are in the proper agentic scaffolding or harness or workflow. I shouldn't say workflow, but structure, you get better stuff out of it. So that's why you don't have to run Opus 4.6 on everything. Even though it's really the best model, you can use lower models and get better outcomes. And so this person figured out a new framework on how to do it. And you can see what, the jumps that they did that he was able to achieve in these models. Reduction in tokens, increase in coding capabilities. Good stuff. Real smart. I love it when people are smart. I like hanging out with smart people. What was this? Google AI introduces I mentioned this earlier. China's Alibaba just open source SQLite of vector databases. ZVec runs as a library inside your app and is built for on-device RAG. This is so cool. I don't have the words to express this. So when we now have small LLMs that can run locally on your iPhone, we now have small vector databases that can run locally on your iPhone. This is going to be a major shift as this stuff starts to get deployed elsewhere. Absolutely cool. Code Wiki from Google, new perspective on development for the agentic era. Gemini generated documentation, always, excuse me, always up to date. This just, docs on how to use Google stuff. VRAG, multimodal agentic reinforcement learning, next generation RAG. If you're a RAG person, this is useful for you. Code Factory, how to set up your repo so your agent can auto write and review 100% of your code. This is what I'm talking about. Like I do this with a bunch of different frameworks in Cursor. So Ryan gave us a tutorial on how he's doing it and making sure that everything is properly built. Actually, what's really interesting is this SHA, this for the dedupe. That's really smart. I actually think that this approach will get incorporated into the Cursor's anti-gravities VS codes. That's just a really good idea. Preserve memory. I like it. Yeah, something worth studying and not skimming. Evaluating agents.md are repository level context files helpful for coding agents. So agents.md is a markdown file that defines the different agents that your coding system will have access to, so that it can automate the coding that you're building. These researchers, ultimately, we conclude that unnecessary requirements from context files make tasks harder, and human written context files should describe only minimal requirements. So they've basically just said, yes, keep your agents.md file sparse as much as possible. Very good technique on proving that. So I think what we're going to also start to see is the agent coding tools knowing that they should make agents.md that is smart and small. We're going to start to see more of that. Demux, if you're a coder, parallel agents with tmux and work trees, just a tool to be able to have multiple command line coding agents working simultaneously is always fun. I'm not there yet personally, but at some point I'm going to get there. Codex multi-agent playbook part 1 setup guide. So if you're playing with Codex and you're using the subagents, this person has a tutorial on how to set that up. Really good if you're a coder. This was from Feifei Li. I think I mentioned that earlier. What was this? Never use ChatGPT for writing. Its text is easily detectable. Instead, use Claude Sonnet 4.5 or now 4.6, using this mega prompt to turn AI-generated writing into undetectable human-written content in seconds. Steal this prompt. So I think every student should use this. If you want to use your favorite AI to write your academic papers for you, there you go. Vary the rhythm, add imperfection, inject personality, kill AI phrases, natural flow. There you go. Yes, Nico, that's right. Gemini Pro is also very good to write. Yes, I agree. YC, an AI video generator that turns documents, prompts, and scripts into complete, editable, whiteboard style explainer videos in minutes. Again, another company that YC invested in. Again, I look at this and I don't like these style graphics, but a lot of people do. They're competing with Google, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. MIT OpenCourseWare deep learning course. Nobody's going to take this. I don't even know why I show this to people. Google says people are copying its AI without its permission, much like it scraped everybody's data without asking to create its AI in the first place. I feel like a very tiny little violin playing music right here. Yeah, of course people are using Google's AI to train other AI, right? Yeah, good article from Futurism. GTIG, AI threat tracker, distillation, experimentation, and continued integration for AI for adversarial use. This is the Google Threat Intelligence Group doing research on how they are protecting AI and their models and reducing extraction. Yeah, I know. McKinsey says it has 25,000 AI agents. Its rivals say that it's not a metric of success. I think it's a metric of success, but what do I know? This was really cool. 60 Minutes. They had their latest compilation on their robotics episode. They do these on YouTube every once in a while. Really good, worth a watch. This is a post from Yavor Bozhinov, who's one of my professors at HBAP. He is an HBS professor. He put this graph together, and I think it's really good. So capabilities over time. When you look at this exponential, the frontier models are getting better and better and better. The average organizational absorption is the bottleneck. I've said this for years, that new technologies come out and they become available. It takes businesses, industries, and people time for that technology to disseminate and then be absorbed into the workplace. So what he's proven is that there's a growing gap. The gap is organizations are slow as shit. They can't change overnight. So this growing gap is absolutely one of our greatest opportunities for the workforce, because stuff still needs to get done. And what he's suggested here in his post is for MBA students, I think this is the opportunity they have. Help their organizations to close the gap or start new companies that hug the frontier AI capabilities curve. Yavor, dude, I freaking love you. I'm an entrepreneur. I focus on startups. This is what my mission is. Go find a problem out there. Use AI to go solve it and create a business model that creates value and captures value. The future of work is entrepreneurship. So I saw this and I'm like drooling, huge Yavor crush. Absolutely love this man. Total genius. Garrett, this is also among the biggest issues discussed in SAP or enterprise software space. Exactly. How do we get businesses to change quickly? They don't change quickly. And a little tangent here. I'm giving a presentation to the Berkeley Open Innovation Seminar on Monday on the state of the art of agentic AI. And one of the things I've been talking about for years is that the way to be successful in the enterprise is to have a Tushman level ambidexterity, where you create a separate business unit, and that's where you do the experiments. So that's where you close the gap in a separate business unit. And that separate business unit, their mission is to replace the core of the organization. Put it out of business. So you're not a Kodak. Kodak invented digital photography, but they couldn't replace the cellulose because they just couldn't do it at the C-suite. So this new business unit, their mission is to replace every single thing inside the core with AI. That's what the business unit does. Where they experiment is with modularity, and that's from Carlos Baldwin's research. She looked for the systems, whether they're small or large, preferably small, that have well-defined inputs and well-defined outputs. That's what you should replace first. And you're also on board with the Yavor fanboy. Garrett, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. All right, moving on. Oh, whoops. Ding, next. This is a great paper, Thinking Fast, Slow, and Artificial, How AI is Reshaping Human Reasoning in the Rise of Cognitive Surrender. I don't want to think anymore. And I want to offload my brain and cognitive offload to AI, and it's a bad thing. So don't listen to me when it comes to not wanting to think anymore. And what's funny is I've noticed on numerous occasions people trusting the AI entirely too much. And that's a big warning. I see it. I've done it myself. And when I do it, I recently wrote a research paper, which I had AI help me through some of this math and stuff that I wasn't completely clear on. And when it came to the the literature review, which I'd done my own personal literature review. I asked AI to help me do the researches. I got all of the information. I read through all the information. By the way, I uploaded almost all of it into Notebook LM to help me organize the thoughts and ask questions about it. So I did all of the work. And then I asked it to just give me some feedback, make changes. The changes that it was suggesting were sycophantic and incorrect. So I had to go back and fix a lot of that stuff. So when you're at this level, and what I like to think is this outlier use case where you're trying to do something completely new, you can't rely on it completely. People are mourning the retirement of GPT-4o. Nico, they're dead anyway. They're just there. Let them mourn the death of GPT-4o. I have no sympathy for them whatsoever. I laugh in their face. Robots. So what's really awesome here is that on the AI exposure index of jobs and roles that were supposed to be least likely to be replaced by AI, it was dancers, human dancers. And I don't think that's true anymore. I just don't know. I don't know how to navigate this. Yeah, it's the psychological connection, Nico, 100%. Clear Act would establish notice requirements for copyrighted works in AI training data. This is from Adam Schiff and John Curtis, both bipartisan. I don't know how this is going to work. I really don't. Copyright labeling and ethical AI reporting. I don't know how this is going to work for us because if China doesn't care, this destroys Americans' ability to properly build models on copyrighted material without permission. I believe that training a model on copyrighted data is 100% transformative and 100% fair use. And if it's not fair use and businesses have to disclose their training data, I think we're hurting ourselves more than we're helping ourselves. So that's my initial gut. I've not read the legislation. This is the Ars Technica retraction notice of the article that they said earlier. I mentioned that fabricated quotes. That is atrocious. They should be dinged for that. I'm glad that they issued a retraction. VoiceBox, an open source voice synthesis studio. 11 Labs, they have got their experiments in their agent system now. This was interesting. AI agent insurance. We're going to see more of this. I think this is really very innovative. So you now have an insurance policy for your agents that I think it goes beyond standard business E&O. This is a great article from A16Z. What comes next? More capable and coherent video, world models going from prototype to product, and open source gains ground. I don't know about the belly dancing, Ali, if robots can or can't do them, but I think your homework for next week is to go find some robots that are doing some belly dancing. That might be outside of the jagged frontier of robotics. Love it, man. Claude in PowerPoint. Somebody had asked about that. I think Garrett, you had asked about that. Here it is. Claude in PowerPoint is now available in the Pro plan. I knew I had something for you. This is important for the data scientists in the room. Do Claude Code and Codex p-hack, sycophancy, and statistical analysis in large language models? This is a paper I have yet to read, but the findings suggest that at least in narrow estimation tasks, LLMs themselves are unlikely to bias results towards statistical significance, but safety guardrails are likely unable to restrain researchers in intent on p-hacking. So good news there. Garrett.
Yeah. Sorry, can I just get an item on the table? I've got to sign off pretty soon, but
No worries.
the fact is, I wanted to. I've been noticing something over the past few days that's a concern that basically I think we'll wind up having some more time to talk about later on, maybe next Wednesday or the next open disruption section.
What was the question?
What I'm seeing out there in some of the way that the AIs are going after getting data for domain information and context is this was essentially the topic of the Mercor case from a week or two back. They are able to get this information, and they're basically using these techniques to break down essentially protective moats. And since we all know that essentially moats create value,
well, moats don't necessarily create. Well, they create value for the shareholder. Yeah. Okay.
For at least the people who might.
So Garrett, what was the question? Sorry, because I've got a lot. I want to move on. What was?
Okay. There are power dynamics to this that I think that really would be. We need to have cover some of those factors. But if you've got a whole bunch of these, I'd like to have every single session. I have stuff, and by the time you go on all the great things that you have, I'm like, okay, well, mine's obsolete, so we have to keep moving on. But maybe there'll be
Was there a
maybe there'll be
question,
tangent.
Garrett? You're kind of scattered. I'm sorry. I just
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
focus you and get to
It's
the point.
with Claude on PowerPoint. You should just go with that. I'll have some things I'll try to put together and maybe share them for later.
If you have to drop off, I get it. Put in the Zoom chat, Slack me, DM me. Well, we can hang out. Okay, I got you back, man. But thank you. There's a lot here. I know. I'm sorry. But this is the fire hose that we all live in, and the purpose of doing this. Here's a great article from HBR. To thrive in the AI era, companies need agent managers. Oh, that's a great job. I'm going to be an agent manager. I love it. I think it's fantastic. That agent manager gets hired in the exploration business unit of the organization, and that's what they do. They manage the agents. They need domain expertise because the domain, if you don't have the domain expertise, how are you going to be able to be the human in the loop with the accountability of who goes to prison when the agents screw up? The agent manager. I mean, the CEO will go too, but whatever. This is a great idea. I like this. A good article. Ding, next. UK ad agencies undergo their biggest exodus of staff as AI threatens the industry. Yeah. Been talking about this for 3 years now. Took a little bit of time for it to catch up, but massive, massive layoffs. And we're going to see even more consolidation, more transformation in advertising. Why? Because the brand can replace the majority of services that the advertising agency does. So build a platform. That's it. Build your agency, their own internal platform, build their own agents, be the agent manager inside the agency. There you go. That's the future. Or sorry, build the agent, be the agent manager inside the brand, not the advertising agency. A structural shift is not a blip. Agency leaders on IPA, 14% agency job loss findings. Yeah, massive. This is coming. Get ready for it, folks. More Bureau of Labor Statistics stuff. The BLS, which apparently some people don't trust anymore. I don't know. But this is the economic news release from a few weeks ago. Or was this last month? I forget. We're rounding up towards the end. We're in the labor section, so you know that I'm almost done. MIT professor David Autor, massive AI advancements could devalue labor, posing an existential threat to income distribution, identity, and democracy. While we have abundant resources, society could fracture without a market for human contribution. We need discussion now. I completely agree with him. We need to talk about this because when humans in capitalism, Nico's drawing on the screen. Thanks, Nico. Um, when humans are, let me clear that. When humans can no longer exchange their time, money, exchange their time or labor or knowledge for money, capitalism fails. The workforce no longer has leverage against businesses, and it's a collapse. That's the problem. So we have to have these conversations. Now, again, what scares me is that we're all serfs in Elon's kingdom. He just buys everything. He buys every single apple. He buys every single food. He buys every single factory. He buys every single piece of land in the country. And then he owns it all. We just have to do whatever he says. That's possible. Not likely, but possible. The other outcome is that we get my Star Trek utopia. Another outcome is that we get I can't speak, a sustenance level of UBI, which is not a fun place to be. I would much rather have a universal luxury than a universal basic. And how that filters into democracy, I don't know. McKinsey, what AI could mean for film and TV production in the industry's future. This is an old article from January of this year. Again, it's old because it's from January and we're now in February. It's almost a month ago. Welcome to exponential effects. Almost the last slide. True up at layoff tracker. We're at just under 13,000 layoffs for February of this year. And I looked at the Warren tracker today. 2026. So because companies in the United States have to file notices that they're going to be laying off people. So you can kind of see their layoff range of how many people, the layoff date. A lot of these things are retro, meaning they've already laid off the people, but the Warren, so like we're giving you everybody 3 months severance. So they're still employees for those 3 months. So this might not be forward, this might be retro. Just to understand one of the ways that this data is confusing to understand, excuse me. But Combank, So let me just scroll down this so you can see what we're up against here. And I don't think this is anything abnormal. I just want to be clear here that this is not like, oh my God, this is so many people. I think this is normal for every year, for every month, going back up at least until COVID. Um, you know, Del Monte Foods, April, that's the layoff date. So they might have already laid off these people, and they might have already received notice, but they're still being paid up until the end date. It's hard to tell. Kroger, Amazon. Again, I think this is Amazon's retro from the previous month, or when was this? Here. So they laid off people in January, and you can see here that their end date is end of April. So that was their severance, meaning the official layoff date is here. They were informed, and then they get paid. They're still on the books until then. So that's the retroactive aspect of all this. So again, pay attention to where we are in terms of jobs and layoffs. AI augments people. If they're really extracting the productivity they claim to justify the layoffs, they would be competing to try and take additional market share from their competitors. But they are doing that. They're doing that at the same time they're able to reduce the workforce. That's everything, folks. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for sticking through this fire hose of about 200 data points of the latest AI news. I'm really grateful that you guys are here. I do this for you. Please do share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please share these videos with your friends and your social media. I've got 61 subscribers on my YouTube channel. If I can get to 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel, I can actually turn on monetization, and I might be able to go buy an Apple. So on that, I'm going to end the recording, and I will stick around for some overtime. I will see you all next week.